Okay, yes, Fatma, let me unmute you and let me share my screen. Wait, beta. Is this your presentation, beta? Fatma.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now wait. Let me in other students, then you may start.
Okay, sir.
Your members are present?
Sir, देख के बता दो. Yes, sir.
Okay, now you may start, beta.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Starting with the name of Allah, who is the most beneficent and the most merciful to us. Assalamu alaikum to my respected teacher and my dear classmates. My name is Fatma Mehrbano. And first, I want to pay thanks to my teacher who has given me a chance to present in front of you all. Today, my group and I are going to tell you about figures of speeches. First, I'm going to tell you that what is figure of speech, what does figure of speech, and then I'm going to move on the types of figures of speech. A figure of speech is a word or phrase that possesses a separate meaning from its literal definition. Types of figures of speeches. The figure of speech list is over 100, but some commonly used type are given below with the examples, and I'm going to tell you 4 of them. First one is simile. It is a figure of speech in which we compare things by using as or like. For example, here I've written as brave as lion. Here as is used to compare bravery of the person to the lion's bravery. That doesn't mean that the person is lion. The bravery of the person is compared to the lion. And the second one is metaphor. It is a figure of speech in which a word or phrase is applied to an object or action to which it is not literally applicated. Like he is a lion. Here, the person is not a lion. The bravery, as I've said, as brave as lion, the bravery of the person is compared to the lion. So we have said that he is a lion, or we can use it as a simile as well, like as brave as lion. The third one is personification. It is a figure of speech in which we give quality of living things to non-living things. Like the example is sky is crying. That doesn't mean that sky is crying. The quality of a living thing is compared to non-living thing. Like if it's raining, we can say that sky is crying. Number 4, metonymy. It is meant for change of name. It is a substitute of the thing name for the thing meant. For example, the pen is mightier than the sword. That is a comparison of two things, that the pen is the, that doesn't mean like we can fight with the pen, but the words or the letter we like the thing we write to the pen, we can't or we say by the pen, we can't say it by the sword. That was my presentation, and now Hamna is going to continue further for figures of speeches. Thank you.
Okay, Hamna. Raise your hand, beta. That your name come on the top of the list. Yes, Hamna, you have to raise your hand. Okay, unmute yourself.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Hamna Muhammad Ayaz, and I am talking about the figure of speeches. First is hyperbole. Hyperbole is a statement made empathetic by overstatement. It's mean, for example, someone said there are enough food in a cupboard to feed an entire army, but we don't literally mean that there are enough food in the cupboard to feed the 100 peoples in the army. Second is transferred epithet. Transferred epithet means the qualifying objective is transferred from a person to a thing. Person to a thing, as in phrases. For example, the builders were looking at a dizzy height. Height cannot literally be dizzy. They have no feeling. The transferred epithet intensifies the height. How high up would you need to be feel dizzy? Third one is euphemism. Euphemism means we speak in agreeable and favorable term of some person, object, or event which is ordinarily considered unpleasant and disagreeable. For example, someone might say they are taking an early retirement. Instead of admitting they got fired, they put a new spin or ordinary words and expression, and if they are really clever. Fourth one is irony and sarcasm. Irony or sarcasm is the real meaning of the word used are different from the intended meaning. For example, when someone does something wrong, we say very good, well done. It's mean people used to say the opposite of what's true to make someone look or feel foolish. Thank you. That's all. And this presentation is continuing with Bach.
Now, who's next, beta? Miss Pa. Okay, Humna, yes, it was a good presentation and you did well. But if you could have, not Miss Pa, okay, if you could have talked in little details, then it was an excellent presentation. Well done. Now, Miss Pa.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Miss Pa.
Assalamualaikum,
Welcome, assalam.
Assalamualaikum, my respected teacher and my honorable teacher and my class fellow. I start my presentation with the name of Almighty Allah. I'm thankful to my teacher who gave me a chance to say something in front of you all. This is Misbah Karim. Firstly, I'll tell you about the few types of figure of speech. Firstly is epigram. An epigram is a brief saying with contrastingly ideas which excite, surprise, and grasp attention. I have example. A child is a father of men. A child is a father of men. If you see this sentence, you say that what she's saying. This sentence is very maybe wondrous, but inwardly this is very meaningful. It means this sentence. It means that if you see the child in his behavior, you said that the child becomes sharp. And the second example, the second type is latotes. Latotes is a negative expression with a positive sense. I have an example. She is not starving. But when you see this, she is not starving. वो भूखी नहीं है. But when you know that, when you make the sense that she is not starving. Second example is she isn't unkind. And if you see the sentence, she isn't unkind. वो बेरहम नहीं है means कि वो रहम दे ले. She is kind. And the third type is oxymoron. Oxymoron is a figure of speech containing words, phrases that sense to opposite each other. I give the example of from my point of view. It is association of words or phrases having opposite meaning. I have example. My friend is regularly unregular. There is a two oxymoron, which is regular and another is irregular. And the second example is, do you have the original copies? There are two oxymoron. The first is original and the second is copies. And the fourth and the last figure of type of figure is assonance. Assonance assonance take place when two or more vowels come together and repeat the same vowel sound but start with different consonant sound. I give from my point of view, assonance repeat same vowels but start with different consonant sound. Example is go slow over the road. You see this go G. First G is consonant and then slow S is also consonant and V is consonant and R is consonant. That's it. Thank you, sir.
Okay, beta. Shabash, well done. Now I think your group is done. Is that so, beta? Or if someone is remaining, Tayyaba. Okay. Khan. Yes. Yes, Tayyaba.
Start with the name of Allah, who is the most merciful and the beneficial. My respected teacher and my dear class fellows, Assalamu alaikum. First of all, thanks to my respected teacher who gave me a chance to speak in front of all. My name is Tayyaba Asad. As my teammates told you the figure of speech, now I will tell you some more. So first is climax. It is an arrangement of series of ideas in the order of increasing importance. Just like a ladder, climax signifies gradual step-by-step movement where you reach higher with energy successive step that you take. For example,
Taiba, please wait a moment. Azan is being recited here, so please wait. Wait for a few
okay,
minutes.
sir. Okay, fine.
Yes, Taiba. Now start.
Climax. It is an arrangement of series of ideas in the order of increasing importance. Just like a ladder, climax signifies gradual step-by-step movement where you reach higher with every successive step that you take. For example, I smile, I laugh, I roar. It starts from lower to higher in the order of increasing importance. Another example is at first he walked, then he ran, at last he simply flew. So you can see that here it starts from lower to higher. And now anticlimax. The second one is anticlimax or bathox. This is the opposite of climax and signifies an ludicrous from higher to lower descent. It is a sudden transition in discourse from an important idea to laughable or trivial one. For example, the soldier fight from glory and shilling a day. Another example is in that terrible accident, he lost his family, his car, and his stylish watch. We can see a decreasing order of importance here, as the most important thing is the family, followed by the car, and the stylish watch is least important here. The third one is alliteration, the repetition of same letters or syllables at the beginning of two or more words. We can say that the repetition of consonant sounds, especially at the beginning of the words. For example, like some tongue twisters, she sells seashells on the seashores. The shell sees, she sells are seashells. There, S is alliteration sound. Or when you are driving, you might come across a sign, don't drink and drive. Now the successive words are start with the sound D. So it's alliteration. The fourth one is onomatopoeia, the formation of words whose sound is made to suggest or echo sense in his bang. It is formation of words from sound associated with what is named. For example, the snakes are hissing and the bees are buzzing. Here the word hissing sound produced by snakes and the word buzzing sound produced by bees. Or another example is I chatter, chatter as I flow to join the bright rhyming river. Another example is the ball splashes in the water. The word splash is actually river breaks the sound of hitting water. So this is my presentation, sir. Thank you.
Okay, beta. Shabash, well done. Now, beta, who's next group? जिन्होंने मुझे अपनी PPT सेंड की है. Next group, please raise your hand. Asia, okay. Yes, beta. Unmute yourself. Yes, beta.
Start with the
बेटा आपकी PPT
start with सर मैंने सेंड कर दी थी.
बताएं तो मैं शेयर करूंगा ना. कौन सी PPT आपने बताई सेंड की है?
Oh sorry सर romantic age.
रोमांटिक एज. वेट बेटा. PDF में शेयर की है आप लोगों ने बेटा?
Yes sir.
आपको पता नहीं PPT फाइल में ही शेयर होती है, PDF में नहीं.
सर मैं स्टार्ट कर दूं ऐसे?
वेट. I'm trying to open it. I hope it will work. Is it working? Can you see
Yes
it?
sir. Thank you. Yes
Wait.
sir. Thank you.
Wait. Yes, now start beta.
Start with the name of Allah, who is Rahman and Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, my respected teacher and my fellows. My name is Asia Maulabaksh, and my group members are Savira Maulabaksh and Fiza Maulabaksh. And our topic of presentation is the Romantic Age. At first, we will give introduction and then features of Romantic Age, and then we will discuss the language of poet. And my content is Introduction of Romantic Age. And the timeline of this age is from 1798 to 1832, after which we have Victorian Age. The Romantic Age is the return of nature. As we know, in the classical age, reasoning was given a lot of importance, and in the Romantic Age, we will see that feelings and emotions are given more importance. Lyrical Ballad was published in 1798, and this was the text. It was a famous text written by William Wordsworth and S.T. Coleridge. After this text, classical age ended and Romantic Age started. There was a revolt happened against social poetry. They stated that poetry is not responsible to give education. The main purpose of poetry is to give pleasure and joy to the people. Poetry is the representation of feelings and emotions as well. Otherwise, poetry is being useless. That's why there was a revolt against classism. This was from my side. Thank you all for your attention. Now my group member will continue and tell you about the feature of classical age.
Starting with the name of Allah, who is the creator. Assalamu alaikum to our respected teacher and my class fellows. My name is Fiza Maulabaksh and my content is Features of the Romantic Age. First one is strong belief in emotions. So there were some poets which are called lake poets. They all belong to one district and to the Romantic Age. Those poets were William Wordsworth, S.T. Coleridge, and John Keats. In this age, poets believed in emotions and feelings rather than reasons and logics. Basically, they used to write imaginary poetries. Second feature is love for laymen and nature. In this age, poet had love for laymen and nature. Whatever written in this age was used to be for common people. William Wordsworth's poetry was based on laymen and nature, but S.T. Coleridge was the one who didn't give importance to laymen. The third one is purpose of poetry is an art. In this period, people had a strong belief that the purpose of poetry is an art and it should be for everyone. They said poetry has different kinds of purpose. The most important purpose of poetry is to give pleasure. There should be feelings and emotions for every individual and it should be entertaining and enjoyable for everyone. And the other purpose of poetry is that there should be a message in the poetry for every individual. If there is no feelings, emotions, and message in the poetry, so the actual purpose of poetry is not being fulfilled. In their point of view, each and every purpose of poetry should be served. And the fourth feature of the Romantic Age is end of the Romantic Age. In 1832, Victoria became the queen and the Victorian age started and the Romantic Age ended. These were the features of the Romantic Age. Now my other group member will continue and will discuss the language of poets. Thank you all for hearing me.
Start with the name of Allah, who is the forgiver. Respected teacher and my class fellows, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Savira Maula Baksh and my content is language of poetry. So first one is views of S.T. Coleridge. S.T. Coleridge said that poetry is a language of scholars and a person must be a scholar in order to understand the poetry. Otherwise, he doesn't deserve to get pleasure from poetry because he thought that if an uneducated person reads these poetries, so he will criticize on them. So that's why he used to think that poetry should be for scholars only. So second one is views of William Wordsworth. His views were entirely different from S.T. Coleridge. Instead of being his best friend, they both used to write together, but their views were not similar. They were totally different. He thought that poetry should be for all. It is everyone's right to understand the poetry and to get pleasure from poetries. He stated that why scholars write poetries for themselves, they should write poetry for common people and it should also be in easy language so it would be understandable for everyone. Third one is views of Plato. He belonged to Greek history. He wrote 10 Republic books. He said that poetry is imitation of imitation and poetry is removed twice from reality. For example, when a carpenter makes a chair and it comes in its physical existence, so it is not a reality, but the picture-like idea and thought of a chair is a reality. The physical existence of chair is a copy of its idea. This is how poetry is a copy of its idea. And in this way, poetry is removed twice from reality. And he has criticized on poetries on these grounds, which are moral ground. He thought that poetry encourages the weaker points of a person. Then these points become dominant on individual's body. They start going back to past and cry for their loved ones. So he was against of poetry. Second one is educational ground. He said that I have never seen education in poetry. Poetry doesn't give education to the people. So he criticized poetry that it is wastage of time. And the last one is art ground. He believed that poetry is not an art. Art is something which gives benefits and comfort to the people, like medicines. Medicine is an art which gives benefits and comfort to the people. In this way, he thought that poetry should not be taught. And fourth and the last one is views of Aristotle. He was the best student of Plato and one of the best philosophers. He wrote poetics. He was against of Plato in criticizing poetry. He disagreed with his teacher. He said poetry should be taught normally. He thought that poetry should not be judged by his point of view. People use poetry to get pleasure. It is full of feelings and emotions, so poetry should be judged by these. In his point of view, something is created and there is no existence of new there. So it is not a copy, it is an art. This was all from our side. I would like to thank you all for your time and attention.
Okay, Veta. Now I have one or two questions.
Yes, sir.
I think the last one was present Savera, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, Beta Savera, you was talking about the concept of Plato about poetry, that he says that the poetry is the thing which encourages the weaker part of body, or we can say that
Yes,
the poetry encourages the weaker part of the soul to become dominant over entire body. Because according to the views of Plato, he says that whenever one reads the poetry, a person reads the poetry, then he becomes very much gloomy. That person becomes very much sad, and that person becomes victim of different circumstances. So his weaker part is suppressed under the body. But when he reads the poem, then that weaker part of the soul becomes dominant over entire body. When
Yes, sir.
the weaker part of the soul become dominant over entire body, then that person becomes mad. वो पागल हो जाता है.
Yes, sir.
See, beta. So this is the concept of Plato about the poetry. So that's why he believed that there should not be poetry at all. और
Yes.
दूसरा जो मैं एक्चुअली जो आपसे क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा हूँ यहाँ पर मैं आपको करेक्ट कर रहा था, और जो क्वेश्चन आपसे है
Yes,
वो
thank
कि यू डिस्कस द 3 ग्राउंड्स ऑफ प्लेटो. विच वर द 3 ग्राउंड्स? उनके नेम रिपीट करेंगे
Yes.
या बेटा?
Yes, sir. First one is moral ground, second one is educational, and third is art.
Okay, yes. In some of the books, these are the 3 grounds. Arts, जो कि arts के 2 types बताए गए हैं. Number 2 is morality or the moral grounds, and the number 3 is educational ground. In some other books, we can say that some other scholars believe that there are 3 grounds. Number 1 is philosophical ground. Number 2 is pragmatic ground, and number 3 is uh, uh, artistic ground. Artistic ground. So okay, that was one of the best
Yes.
presentation, and the topic which you have chosen is one of my most favorite topic, and that's why I
Thank
just, that was a good presentation. Now the question which I am asking
Thank you,
from
sir.
3 of you,
Yes, sir.
कोई भी सवाल का जवाब
Yes,
दे
sir.
सकता है. What is difference between the poetry of romantic age and the poetry of classical age?
Sir, poetry of classical age was based on logics and reasons, and the romantic age poetry was based on feelings and emotions.
When you say logics and reason, then what do you mean by logics and reasons?
Reality.
Sir, reality.
Okay, reality.
Everything was based on reality. Yes, sir.
Exactly.
Sir,
Yes, beta.
sir, they
Exactly.
want poets of the classical age want to teach the people by their poetries. That's
Okay.
why they used to write on logics.
Okay, and what about the poetry of romantic age?
Sir, poetry of romantic age said that we should not educate people with the help of poetry. We should write poetry in that way, where feelings and emotions are present.
Okay, that means the poetry of classical age, what I infer from your comment, that the poetry of classical age was based on reality, and the poetry of
Yes, sir.
romanticism was based on imagination. Is that so?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Exactly. That's a good answer. Shabash, well done, beta.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Now beta, who's the next group which shared? मैं चाह रहा हूँ कि आज आप लोगों के जिनके भी प्रेजेंटेशन रहते हैं, ताकि आज का मैं दिन जो पूरा आपके साथ डेडिकेट करके भी आप सबके प्रेजेंटेशन आज ले लेते हैं. दैट आपको फायदा ये होगा कि यू विल बी वेरी मच रिलैक्स्ड, और फाइनल्स के लिए आप अपनी अच्छे से तैयारी भी कर लेंगे. दैट वुड बी वेरी इजी फॉर यू एज वेल इफ यू आर कन्वीनियंट विद इट. तो मैं आज पूरा दिन भी बैठ जाऊंगा आप लोगों के साथ. मिस नो बेटा, आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू टेल यू मार्क्स राइट अवे. मेरे पास यहाँ पर पेन एंड पेज पड़ा हुआ है जिसपे मैं सारी चीज़ें नोट कर रहा हूँ. देन मैंने क्लास में भी जिन्होंने प्रेजेंटेशन दिए थे उनको ऑन द स्पॉट मार्क्स नहीं बताए थे. जितने मार्क्स देने हैं वो मैंने उनको दे दिए, और यहाँ पर भी मैं जितने दे रहा हूँ वो दे रहा हूँ. सो आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू टेल यू मार्क्स राइट अवे, बट व्हेन यू आर डन विद जो असाइनमेंट, आप जब असाइनमेंट देंगे आपके जो 25 sectional marks है, then I will tell you that out of 25 how many marks you have got. ठीक है बेटा. तो उसमें अगर आप इंडिविजुअली भी पूछेंगे तो बता दूंगा कि कितने मार्क्स कितने में आपको मिले, असाइनमेंट में कितने हैं, प्रेजेंटेशन में कितने हैं. सो आई एम जस्ट प्लानिंग टू टेक योर प्रेजेंटेशंस टुडे, दैट आपके पास भी इनफ टाइम हो ताकि आप भी फाइनल के लिए प्रिपेयर हो जाएं और आपका जो बर्डन है या जो भी आपकी एंजाइटी है वो खत्म हो जाए. सो लेट मी सी हु इज गोइंग टू प्रेजेंट नेक्स्ट. यस बेटा, सवेरा आसिया, आप अपना ये जो हैंड है वो लोअर कर दें. अल्फिया इज देयर. ओके बेटा, यस, अनम्यूट योरसेल्फ.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
यस बेटा.
Sir, actually, there is an issue right now.
व्हाट काइंड
Sir,
ऑफ इशू बेटा?
Sir, the group members are not present here, and I have been contacting them, but they are not responding. So,
Okay.
what should I do?
Okay, you may present tomorrow. Along with them, you can give your presentation by tomorrow. जो आज प्रेजेंट नहीं है या अवेलेबल नहीं है या नहीं देना चाह रहे हैं तो जबरदस्ती नहीं है. आई एम नॉट फोर्सिंग एनीवन. जो विलिंगली आज देना चाह रहे हैं एंड दे वांट टू बी फ्री फ्रॉम द एंजाइटी, आई एम अवेलेबल टुडे. अगर मुझे शाम तक भी बैठना पड़ा तो आई विल सिट एंड टेक योर प्रेजेंटेशंस बेटा.
But sir, I was thinking that I should give my part at least.
ओके सी देखते हैं अगर कोई और ग्रुप कंप्लीट बैठा हुआ है तो उनकी प्रेजेंटेशन लेके देन एट द एंड आई विल टेक योर प्रेजेंटेशन एज वेल ओके बेटा ओके
Thank you.
वेलकम बेटा नाउ who's next let me check Madiya okay yes beta unmute yourself Madiya
Assalamu alaikum.
walaikum assalam yes beta
Sir, my topic is Renaissance.
okay did you
I will
share your
send you
PPT
PPT. Yes, sir.
okay let me group presentation the name of your PPT
Yes,
is
sir.
let me check.
Renaissance.
Let me check. Okay, presentation for final examination topic Renaissance. You have not written the names of group members as well.
Sir, Janita will send you PPT.
I don't know
Janita
मुझे
Sayar.
जो मुझे ग्रुप में मिली है मैंने उसी को डाउनलोड करके रखा हुआ है बेटा. So let me share this PPT ताकि आप देखें कि यही है या मैं कोई और. Is that one बेटा?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you have not written the names of group members. Why? यहाँ पर जो आपके ग्रुप मेंबर्स हैं उनके नेम्स जो टाइटल पेज है उस पे लिखना लाजमी होता है ताकि पता तो लगे कि कौन कौन से मेंबर हैं कितने लोग हैं.
Okay, sir.
But when you are done with your presentation, you must write the names of your groups. Okay, beta, group members, and
Okay, sir.
send it to me.
Okay, sir.
Beta, now start.
Start with the name of Allah, the most beneficent and the most merciful. First, I will thanks to my honorable teacher who gave me chance to talk in front of you. My name is Madhya Afzal. Today, my presentation topic is Renaissance. The word Renaissance is a French word which means rebirth, rebirth of learning, knowledge, change in thoughts, and reformation. It refers particularly to a renewed interest in classical learning, the writing of ancient Greece and Rome. The people of this period take much interest in classical learning who written in Greece and Rome. The Renaissance was a cultural movement that started in Italy and spread all over the Europe. The cultural movement was started from Italy and they spread in all over the Europe. It considered to be the division between Middle Age and Modern Age. This period is also considered to the division between Middle Age and the Modern Era. But the thinkers, philosophers, and thinkers of this period also called humanists. So many philosophers, scholars of this period called humanists. He believed that man should be the study of subject of study, not God. Next, William Caston was the first to introduce printing press. Before that, the book were also written in longhand. There is no way of printing books. William Shakespeare is also considered one of the most greatest English author. His texts and plays are popular in all over the world. Now, we tell us about early Tudor age. The period started from 1500 to 1557. The next one.
This one?
The next one.
Okay, okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Early Tudor period was started from 1500 and from 1557. The period is named after Tudor family that ruled England and Wales. In this period, the colony system was introduced. There is no colony system before this period, and also housing system was introduced in this era. And education system was so weak before that era. So in this era, he introduced education system. And thank you, sir. Now, Incha, tell us about Elizabethan Age.
Who's the next beta? Janita.
Inshira
Okay.
Hashmi.
Okay.
I start with the great name of Allah Pak, who is the most beneficial and most merciful. Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Walaikum assalam.
Well, I am here, Janita Sayyad from this group, and I'm going to discuss about Elizabethan period. First of all, introduction is necessary, so let's continue. It is also known as a golden age of English literature, and which is known by the names of Queen Elizabeth. Elizabethan has written 37 plays, some tragedies plays, Hamlet, King Lear, Macbeth, Dr. Factus. These tragedies are based on Oedipus text, also known as Age of Shakespeare. The Elizabethan era took place from 1558 to 1603 and is considered by many historians to be the golden age in English literature. The Elizabethan age is considered to be a time of English Renaissance that inspired national pride through classical, ideal, intellectual expansion, and novel trump. The area is famous for theatre. Renaissance came in England at this age. The social life of England was marked by a strong national spirit, humanism, religious broad-mindedness, scientific curiosity, social content, intellectual progress, and unlimited enthusiasm. The Elizabethan era is perhaps most famous for its theatre and the work of William Shakespeare. Some of the most significant themes in the Elizabethan sonnet consequences include love, time, the value of writing, and the eternalization of beauty. Romantic love is one of the central themes. Many sonnets of the Elizabethan era wrote about the frustration of unreciprocated love. Queen Elizabeth never married nor had children. She said she was married to her country, and that is England. Because she has given all her wholeheartedly, she has given all her mind, all the heart to the England. Here are some literary features of this period. The Renaissance brought insurance, Greek and Roman wisdom to England. The religious reformation taught religious tolerance and secularism. All these aspects of the social life are reflected in the writing of this period. There are some major writers and their works. Thomas More, 1478 to 1535. Utopia or Kingdom of Nowhere. The book was originally written in Latin. Edmund Spenser, 1552 to 1599. The poet of the poets. He is called the poet because after his death, many later English poets followed his arts of poetry. Nicholas Odall, Ralph Royster Deuter, 1553, the first England comedy. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, beta. Who's next? Beta, who's next? I don't know who's because you have to raise your hand. Amber, okay. Yes, beta, Amber. Beta, Amber, you have to unmute yourself. Then you'd be able to speak.
Start with the name of Allah, the most merciful and gracious. Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is Amber Jan. Today, the topic of my presentation is about the Jacobean age